Mr. Chipping. It's nice to meet you, Jughead. I can offer you an opportunity to come study writing with me. I am a teacher at Stonewall Prep.
You Forsyth?
Yeah.
Brett Weston Wallace.
Guys, this is that kid from Riverdale. Forsyth, this is Donna, Jonathan, Joan.
Good afternoon, seekers of knowledge.
Now, what do you think that the whale symbolizes?
Nothing. Well, it's pretty well established that Melville hated allegory.
Any rebuttals?
Shocked to say I actually kind of enjoyed it. The kids had actually read Moby Dick.
Do I look like a jerk?
No, you look like a gentleman. Well, your grandpa, Forsyth I, actually went to Stonewall Prep for a couple of months, until he dropped out.
What happened? Why didn't you tell me this sooner?
That's ancient history, but he quitted everything, including me.
Jughead? Moose? What the hell? It's good to see you. We'll need to be especially tight-lipped around Brett.
You rang? Forsyth, welcome. Lovely to see you again.
Yeah, you too.
Discussion is open. What is everyone's take on Brett's story?
To be honest, wasn't really my taste. I thought it was a Salinger derivative.
You mind if I give you my thoughts on your story? What was it, the Gremlin King?
Gargoyle King.
I thought it was puerile. Tawdry waste of time. I mean, it's pulp.
Pulp is not an insult to me.
I can't relate to Jughead's work because I'm not from his world. I don't have any experience with lowlives or criminals or trailer trash.
No, I could give you the crash course in about 5 seconds.
We will be having an evening session. You've each been given a copy of the same mystery story with the final chapter omitted in which the murderer's identity would be revealed. You're each to write your own version of the ending, in whatever style you choose. We'll then read all the endings and decide the winner by a vote.
You knock it off?
Is it common for gangs to have a writer among its ranks? Isn't your little sister a budding hooligan herself? Only 13 years old and already roped into your mom's drug business.
Why don't you try writing a compelling drama instead of starting it?
Stories A and B, written by Brett and Jughead, tied for last place.
Moose, why do you have this?
Oh, just thinking maybe I'm done with high school. I mean, I'm 18, and the Army doesn't care who you are or where you're from.
Jughead, which of your favorite horror writers did you bring in to share?
I brought the collected works of H.P. Lovecraft.
There's nothing scary about Lovecraft. My favorite Poe story is The Cask of Amontillado. That's the one where the guy is sealed behind a wall, behind bricks, and then is never seen or heard from again. Now, that'd be a horrible way to go, don't you think, Forsyth?
Like the Stonewall 4, you mean?
I'm betting Forsyth could make it the Stonewall 5. We're overdue for a vanishing.
Coffee?
Thanks.
Sir? No.
Let me out! Hey!
Happy Halloween, kids. I know the Stonewall 4 is supposed to be an urban legend, but when I checked the town paper, 4 people had actually gone missing over the last 30 years. It's exactly what happened to Moose.
Marmaduke is fine. He's just busy.
Wait, Mr. Chipping, you wrote a Baxter Brothers mystery?
I am merely the latest in a long line of ghostwriters over the decades.
My mind is blown. Mr. Chipping, I used to love these books when I was a kid. They were my gateway drug into serious crime fiction. My dad used to get me one of these each year for my birthday. Hey, Dad, why'd you stop?
You outgrew him, boy.
Class, this is Francis J. DuPont, the originator of the Baxter Brothers franchise.
Well, it's the successor amongst us, then.
Successor for what?
We are always looking for young and clever minds to keep our adventures fresh and relevant. Now, if you're interested in the job, you'll have to write the first 3 chapters of the next Baxter Brothers novel and an outline for the rest of it.
Did you happen to know my grandfather? Forsyth Jones, the first.
Your grandfather was an excellent writer.
You turn your nose up at us, you scorn us for our privilege. But the only reason you're here is because some school benefactors thought it looked good to take on a charity case.
I'm here because of my writing.
Admissions committee? None of them have read a single word you've ever written. Every year there's one of you, some welfare freeloader who never amounts to anything. Just like your grandfather. He couldn't even make it a semester. That is your past, present, and future, Jughead.
Shut your mouth! I'm done with Stonewall Prep.
Those books weren't from me. Your granddad sent them from wherever the hell he was. I want you to go back. I want you to do what my father never did, what I never did. Graduate high school.
Little Forsyth III, happy birthday. Sorry I'm not there to celebrate with you. Never let anyone tell you that you don't belong. Love, Grandpa. P.S. Trust few and never let them take anything from you.
You and your classmates will be challenged to devise the perfect murder.
I went back to read the first book. Its fingerprint is unlike any of the rest of them. Allegedly, Mr. DuPont wrote the first 5 books before passing the series off. But after my analysis, the stylistic differences from book 1 to book 2 are too distinct to ignore.
Okay, well, who wrote it then?
What if it was my grandfather? He sent me a first edition, first Baxter Brothers book. And if that's not coincidental enough, he wrote inside, never let them take anything from you.
You need proof, Chuck.
I pulled copies of Stonewall Prep's literary magazine from the year that my grandpa and Mr. DuPont attended. In the table of contents, it lists a story written by Forsyth I, but it was torn out. It's like every trace of his writing at Stonewall Prep is just gone.
Chuck, where did your grandpa go to school after Stonewall Prep?
Riverdale High. There's a story in this one written by Frosty Pajamas.
What?
Frosty is almost an anagram for Forsyth. And pajamas are PJs. P and J, Pendleton and Jones. This was written years before the first Baxter Brothers book. Is that enough proof for you? I wanted to talk to you about the first book in the Baxter Brothers series. You didn't write it. You wrote books 2 through 5. The first one was written by my grandfather.
I'm not a thief. What is it with you people?
You're very lucky. I don't take you to the headmaster and get you expelled for this vicious and slanderous attack. Now get out.
It certainly appears to be your grandfather's writing.
Mr. Chipping, you have to help me bring this to light.
I'll help you.
Scholars, as you know, today we will be discussing Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness, about the loss of a man's moral compass.
Mr. Chipping? Are you okay?
I'm sorry, Jughead, that I couldn't help you.
Mr. Chipping! Call an ambulance!
Hello, students. I will be taking over Mr. Chipping's seminar this semester.
I was wondering if you had any more information about why Mr. Chipping killed himself.
Alcoholism drove him to the edge.
I think Mr. DuPont threatened or blackmailed him into killing himself.
What's the motive?
Well, the Baxter Brothers franchise is worth something like $200 million. Look at these yearbook photos I printed out of Mr. DuPont and Chipping. These are decades apart.
Is that the same tie pin?
Yes. Apparently, that is the mark of Quill and Skull. It's one of Stonewall's oldest secret society. And then maybe some of my current classmates are part of the same society. wearing bunny masks and carrying an axe.
We were just trying to scare you, Jones. Have a little fun.
It saddens me greatly to realize these will be the last words I ever write.
Hands off, Forsyth.
What was that? Is that a suicide note, Mr. Chippings?
It was an exercise we did.
Let's say we passed the time with a game of Never Have I Ever. Never have I ever been in a secret society.
Oops. Looks like you lose that round, Forsyth.
Time for a refill. I'll go get the bottle from your room, Jug.
You guys aren't as devious as you think.
Otherwise, you wouldn't have left incriminating evidence like Mr. Chipping's tie pin.
Mr. Chipping gave it to me, okay? We were having an affair. I tried to break it off with him. But then he got aggressive. I told him if he didn't stop, I'd go to the headmaster, and then the next day he jumped out the window.
I'm not so sure that Donna isn't playing us, Jug. There's a possibility in which the story that she told me was just to stall us from uncovering the real truth.
This is an article I found from 2002.
Novelist Theodore Wiesel drowns in yachting accident.
He was in the Quill and Skull Literary Society with my grandfather. I tracked down all the original members. Guess what? Theodore is not the only one who suffers an accident. This one is from 1978. Drove off a bridge. This one's from 1994. Mechanical failure. In fact, DuPont and my MIA grandfather are the only ones in the society who are not dead. Which begs the question, are these all horrible, suspicious accidents?
Murders.